Good evening. Let me just do this. Pen. Comment. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live with Carla. Just gonna wait for Carla to join. Okay, just gonna wait for Carla to join, and then we can start talking about the Big C. It's in 12 days. All right, let me just see if she has joined yet. There, she's joined. All right, let's see. Carla has joined. And I'm just gonna wait for, there we go, view request. All right, okay, wait. There we go. Okay, I thought I'm doing something with technology. Hi, Carla.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right, and you?
Good. How's your
Yeah.
Tuesday?
Pardon?
How's your Tuesday?
My Tuesday's been, it's been good, actually. It's been good. I think, yeah. Slaving along, corporate, mothering.
Nice. What's harder?
How was your Tuesday?
Yeah, good. I did a long run this morning and been writing some running programs today, so it's been quite busy but
Oh,
fun.
nice.
Yeah.
Running programs.
Yes, for the 9-4, we're doing like a 10K program with a whole bunch of ladies over June, July, and August, which is exciting.
It's nice.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, that's nice. And how is, I mean, it's 12 days to go
I
till
know.
the big C. Last time we spoke, you were having a few niggles in your body. How's that been going? How's the preparation been going?
Yeah, I guess my preparation for this year's been completely different to normal because I did get injured. So then I actually ended up not being able to run for 2 weeks and having to become a cyclist, which has been interesting. And then try and get back into running. And then, so yeah, I've been doing a bit of rogue training and stuff that I normally wouldn't do in the run up to Comrades.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm feeling good and actually very interested to see how it's going to go next weekend now.
Oh, that's nice. And I mean, I'm sure there's a few other people that have probably experienced that.
Mm.
So they're deciding, let me do the cycling, and now doing the cycling. How's that? Like, can you maybe? I don't know if you can give us the deets,
Mm.
the details, but like, what has been the difference with the cycling training, using cycling to train for comrades and your normal training?
Yeah, so I guess with any program that you do, you always want to stick to plan A, but when plan A doesn't go to plan, you've then got to keep plan B as close to plan A as possible. And like by that, I mean, I couldn't run, so then we just substituted cycling for running. The difference is if you're going to do that, you actually have to do a little bit more cycling
Okay.
than running. It's kind of like 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. So if you normally do a 1 hour run, you've then got to do a 2 hour bike.
Okay.
Mainly because you're like freewheeling downhill quite a lot. So you're not putting in,
Oh,
like the effort for some of the ride that you do. So yeah, that was a little bit interesting to try and get that right. And I guess with like all injuries and stuff, it kind of depends what you can and can't do. And that's always why I say to people, like, don't just look at what someone else is doing and be like, oh my God, cool, they were injured, they did this, I'm going to copy and do exactly the same. Because you might not be able to cycle, for example. You may have to swim instead or aqua jog. So if you're going through that process, it's always really good to speak to like your physio or your doctor, whoever you are working with, to ask what your parameters are, and what you can and can't do. And then because I had like that break, we then had to be a little bit clever with training. Like this morning I did a 3 hour run, which anyone else that's training for comrades, like you would have done that probably last weekend, not now. But you've got to kind of roll the dice a little bit if you have had these injuries and try things that are a little bit different to not only, make sure that your body is ready for what it's going to do next weekend, but I think it's also good for your head as well to be like, okay, it's fine. I have done my long run. I've ticked that off. And it was like, for me, certainly this morning was a nice little confidence boost ahead of next weekend. So yeah, it's one of those where if you are injured, there's always something that you can do. And for me, I didn't see the point of like sitting on the sofa sulking. So I was like, right, okay, what can I do? What can't I do? And then kind of made a plan based on that, what the doctors and physio said.
And how's the body feeling now? How are you feeling now? Have
Yeah,
you
it's feeling
recovered?
good now. The day I started running again, my leg got very sore again, and I was like, oh no. And I was a little bit nervous, but basically each time I ran, it got a little bit less sore.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was just having not done anything for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you're impacting it. It hurt a bit, but yeah, this morning was good and no soreness, so I am happy.
Okay. So 12 days?
Yeah.
12 days till the big
Mhm.
C. I mean, you've touched on it a little bit. What should have people done by now? And what should they not be doing right now?
By now, you have done all your training. Like anything you do in the next 12 days is not going to make you fitter for next weekend. However, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people do when they taper is that they stop training and they think, oh, I've done my training, I can now rest until the race. Not quite the case. So for this kind of 2 week taper, what the general guidance is that you bring your volume down from anywhere between 70 to 50%, depending on how you feel, but you keep the intensity in there. So for example, if you normally do an interval session on a Tuesday and it's normally 10 by 1 minute fast, 1 minute easy, you'd probably do an interval session, but 6 by 1 minute fast, 1 minute easy. So we're reducing that volume down. If you'd run last weekend for 3 hours, maybe this weekend you do 90 minutes.
Okay.
60 minutes. So we're bringing that volume all the way down, and it is a case of really listening to your body. So if you are really tired, take that extra rest day. Have that little break, get back into it. But you do want to keep the frequency of the runs that you normally do. So if you normally do 5, just keep them at 5, but just halve them. Just so your body's still moving, you're still doing something, but don't go and do something stupid and think, oh, I saw Carla go and do a marathon this morning, so I'm going to go and do one tomorrow, because you don't know the context of why people are doing that sometimes. So stick to your plan. Don't get swayed by what other people are doing. And yeah, the next 12 days, it's almost about embracing being bored, because you are training less and you're going to be like climbing the walls, being like, what can I do? Surely I should go and run more. It's like, get a book, read a book.
Yeah. And runners and torture, eh? Runners and torture. And one thing that people talk about a lot, what I've seen, is the nutrition part. So right now it's 12 days to go. What kind of nutrition? How should your nutrition be looking like? And I mean, you touched on the tapering, but in terms of the nutrition, how is that supposed to be looking right now?
Right now, I wouldn't do anything different to what you normally do. Just eat how you normally eat. Next week, we probably want to be, if you're normally going out to restaurants and stuff, I'd probably just avoid them next week. Just cook at home. You just want to avoid anything that kind of could go wrong. You know, if you're cooking in at home and you know where your food's coming from, you know everything's cleaned properly and cooked properly and all of that jazz. So just stay a little bit simple next week. You do want to, well, you don't have to, but you could, in maybe like the 2 days before the race, reduce fiber down a little bit. So cut back a little bit on like fruit and veggies. For some people, that can have an effect on your stomach. But again, if it's never been a problem before, stick to what you normally do. And then for the 24 hours to 48, kind of within that ballpark, we want a carb load. And I think with carb loading, sometimes people think, yes, I can go and eat like pizzas and
Yeah.
cakes, and but actually you want to save that for after the race. Carb loading is actually really boring and it's actually quite hard, where you want to reduce the protein down a little bit because it's harder for your body to digest. You want to reduce the amount of fat that you're having, because it takes longer for your body to digest, and you just want to keep the carbs. So just think like boring stuff like rice, plain. I normally have oats with some berries, like a few berries for breakfast, rice and like egg fried rice with like a little bit of veg for like lunch and dinner. I will drink apple juice to up the carbs a little bit more, and I will eat sweets because it's very easy to get in lots of carbs through sweets. They're quite calorie dense. So carb loading, how you're meant to do it, is actually not that much fun, and you can get like a little bit of a headache just from the amount of sugar that you're having. But yeah, try and just keep the protein and fat to the slightly lower end to what you normally would do. Which, yeah, I think carb loading sounds like it's fun, and it's not. Eating your burger after your race and your ice cream, that's the fun bit.
Yeah, some people think drinking beer is carb
Yeah.
loading. I've heard other athletes. But I mean, is there a way of being able to sort of tell or detect if is there such a thing as over carb loading, like having too many carbs?
Um,
Um,
it's quite hard because I think, so the kind of recommendations are 10 to 12 grams per kilogram of body weight for the amount of
okay,
carbs you need.
all
So
right,
you can all work that out depending on your weight. So 10 times, I don't know, 60 kilos. It's actually a lot. So when you work it out, it's actually quite difficult to get that amount of carbohydrates in your day. So you do have to plan a little bit. And that's why I kind of use apple juice and sweets, because it's really easy to get the extra carbs in. To go over that, it is quite hard. So I wouldn't worry about that side of the
okay.
scale. It's more, yeah.
And this is like 2 days before, like a few
Yeah.
days before. So, and would you say like the 2 days before is like your peak carbo loading, and then 3 days, 3, 4, 5 days before that,
Just
um,
normal.
just
Yeah.
normal. Okay. So the 2 days before, then you start sort of, and then on race day,
Yeah.
how, like, how's that?
Okay.
How's that supposed to look?
So for myself, on race day, and hopefully, if you are doing comrades, you've been practicing this on your long runs. I will have a bowl of oats for breakfast in the morning, and a cup of tea. So I'd probably normally get up about 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the race. It depends what time we're leaving the hotel. But I like to give myself an hour before I have to leave to wake up. So everyone will just kind of work that out. And then, so I'll have my bowl of oats, then I'll have a cup of tea and a glass of apple juice with that, just to top up. Your body will be using glycogen, which is your carb stores, whilst you sleep. So that meal there is just to top up your liver glycogen, to make sure like every cell in your body has got carbohydrates in it, and you've got as much in your body as you can. And then probably 50, no, 30 minutes before the race, I might have a few more sweets, and then 15 minutes before the start. So when you go into your pens where
Matches.
you're starting your batches, I will take a gel, and I'll have a gel 15 minutes before the start. And then I'll also be sipping on an electrolyte as well, like take that in the car with me, take it with me to the batches, sip on that, just before the start, just so you're nice and hydrated before you get started. And then as soon as that gun goes, that's when your like racing plan kicks in.
Okay.
So breakfast, a little snack in between, and then a gel 15 minutes before the start.
Okay. Now, for someone who maybe hasn't practiced their nutrition, and is listening to you now today,
Mm,
and they would maybe try out this whole thing.
yeah.
Is it too late for them to try it out? How would you then propose that they try it out during maybe their tapering, or is it too late to try out a new nutrition
Yeah.
strategy?
Yeah, to be honest, I would keep to what you've been doing for this race now. Like, hopefully, you've all been having breakfast. If anyone hasn't been having breakfast, that is definitely something to implement before race day because you're going to make your life a million times easier. Um, but yeah, just don't go and do anything like wildly different. If you're running, this week, you can just try that whatever breakfast that you're going to have. I kind of either have oats or toast. Um, you can practice that before your runs the next couple of weeks, but hopefully you're kind of doing that anyway. Um, yeah, upping your carbs the day before won't do that much harm. I definitely think everyone can kind of benefit from that. But race day nutrition, don't go and do anything wildly different to what you've been practicing in
Okay.
training because yeah, your body might not like it. So maybe that's something you take on board for the next race that you do. Because even though we'll all cross that line next Sunday and say we're never going to do a race again, we will. So
And so you spoke about the tapering. You
yeah.
touched on that a little bit. Uh, and you indicated if you maybe do 10 repeats, you take it down to like six. That's this week. So next week, how should the tapering sort of look for next week?
Yeah, similar. You're just reducing it all down a little bit again. I think I'm going to do my last session on Tuesday next week, which will be like um, a moderate paced run. But again, I'm a little bit different because I'm coming back from an injury. But I would advise most people, at running at your comrade's pace, maybe you're going to do 60 to 75 minutes. That's going to be your longest run. And then the rest of them are going to be between 30 and 60 minutes,
Yeah.
nice and easy. Some people like to have a rest day before the day before the race. Some people like to have it 2 days before the race. Completely up to you. I always like to do a really short run the day before, like just 30 minutes, shake out, making sure my shoes are all good, making sure like I'm in the right headspace. It just gets me out the house for a little bit because you do want to sit around for the rest of the day with your feet up doing nothing.
Mm,
Um, but again, it doesn't matter if it's your rest day is one day before, if it's 2 days before. But yeah, everything just wants to be nice and easy. Also, if you do strength and conditioning, which hopefully everyone does, no strength and conditioning next week. And I would say probably Thursday this week is the latest you want to do strength.
okay.
So stop doing this is the only time I'll say don't do your strength. Next week, don't do your strength.
And then with regards to like preparation fatigue, sometimes you get people who start experiencing like the fatigue of preparing for comrades. I mean, comrades is no child's play.
Yeah.
And the training on its own, the race itself, is challenging, but the training as well
Mm,
is quite challenging. And you find some people experience fatigue just preparing for
yeah.
it. If there's someone maybe who's experiencing that during this time, it's 12 days to go, and they feel like, oh, my body is just sluggish, it's just not responding. How would you maybe advise someone who's experiencing that at the moment?
Yeah, I would say that that's completely normal.
Okay.
Like we all feel like that. We all feel like tired and lethargic, and trust me, like it will all come together on race day. Like normally in taper week, I feel awful. I don't like it. My body
Um,
feels gross, and you think you're like, how on earth am I going to run 90 kilometers? But somehow we do it. So yeah, you will feel tired. Don't worry, completely normal. But also as well, give your body that space. If you need an extra rest day, take an extra rest day. Try and get, I would say, yeah, some good night's sleep over the next week. Like next Saturday night, you're not going to sleep. Next Friday, you're probably not going to have the greatest night's sleep. So for as much as you can between now and next week, go to bed at the same time every day, wake up at the same time, try and get a nice routine, bank that sleep as much as you can. If you're not doing that much this weekend, you feel like you need a nap because you're tired, have a nap. Yeah, those little things, like sleep is going to be like when all the magic happens and all that training starts to come together. So sleep, chill, don't panic when you become a psycho next week, because we will all be there together, trust me.
So you touched on it a little bit. Now it's race day. Can you take us through, okay, maybe if you can give us your tips, but like maybe now it's night before, preparing for race day. Can you take us through like the preparing for that? What should a person be doing the night before? What shouldn't you be doing? What must be where? How must you sleep? What must you eat? Or maybe you can take us through what you do the day before. You touched on it a bit. You're not going to be able to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you just take us through that?
Yeah, so day before, you hopefully you might have handed all in your bottles and your gels and everything the day before. It might be 2 days before, wherever that is. I don't know what day ours is exactly. But making sure all your nutrition is squared away. If you're carrying everything on you for the race day, get it all out, lay it all out in a line. If you're giving it to other people to second you to your clubs, for their gazebos along the course, make sure that is all done. If you look around your room and you're like, why have I got nutrition here? It's meant to be with someone else. Sort that out. And then lay your kit out, making sure you've got your number on your front, your number on your back, it's pinned on properly. I always like to pin it on, and then the next day you can adjust the pins once it's on you, but at least then you know you've got your 8 safety pins, everything's on, your kit's looking good. And yeah, I like to just lie everything out the night before. It's all there. You can even make a little checklist like number, pins. Oh, for Peter Maritzburg, it's going to be cold at the start in the morning. So I would say having a long top that you can run in and that you can throw away during the race or give to a friend or family member is very handy. The last down run, I wore my long top for about the first 30 kilometers.
Sure.
So I was quite cold for quite a while, and gloves can be handy as well. So having a top, and don't worry, don't think, oh my God, I'm throwing it away. People come and pick them up and it will go to a good home. So think of that as your donation to charity for the day. So yeah, having something that you can throw away and that you can run with for a little bit. And then, yeah, the rest of the day, you are literally just bored. So find a good movie, just sit around, sit with your feet up, watch a movie, chill out, like hang out with your friends, go and see someone for a cup of tea, and then just, eat carbs. So that's what
Yeah.
I intend to
Carbs,
do.
carbs, carbs.
Yeah, I'm going to get my kit ready. I'm going to sort out my nutrition. I might go and have some cup of tea with my friends down the road, and then, early night, lie in bed, stare at the ceiling for 6 hours, and then I think we're probably going to have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning or something.
Oh, dear, yeah. And then now it's race day.
Yeah.
The gun goes off.
Race day, wake up, put your kit on. I'm going to cover myself in glitter from head to toe.
Glitter like a stripper.
Yeah. Have my breakfast, and then, head down to the start. The race morning actually goes way quicker than you think it will. Like all of a sudden, it's going to be time to stand on that start line. So give yourself the time also to get to the start line. There will be traffic. It can be a little bit stressful. So waking up and leaving half an hour early to make yourself less stressed is definitely the way to do it. Don't think, oh my God, I can sleep for half an hour extra and then be in a blind panic. Like, that is not the morning to be stressed.
Sleeping.
So you're already going to be stressed because you've got to run a very long way. So yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we stand on the start line, sing some songs, and go running.
And our gun goes off.
Yeah.
How would you? It's the first time for Zintle. She's starting the Comrades Marathon next week.
Yeah.
She's never done it.
Yeah.
What can you tell Zintle?
Okay.
How can she approach it?
I would say to anyone approaching the first time, or actually, if you know, first, second, third, whatever you do, you be a little bit cautious in the beginning. And I would say for all of the hills in the first 60 kilometers of the race, set yourself a pace that you don't want to go faster than. And I would suggest this is probably around your marathon pace, because you're going to go down these hills and you're going to think you're Usain Bolt because it feels really easy. And if you go that fast and use gravity, you are going to smash your legs up. And then, trust me, I've done this. That last 30 kilometers is going to be the worst 30 kilometers of your life. So just have that pace in mind. Let's say it's 5 minutes per kilometer. Just have a look at it as you're going down the hills. Make sure that you're not going quicker. Rein yourself in a little bit, because holding back on those first hills is going to pay dividends in that last 30 kilometers of the race. Once you get to the bottom of Fields Hill, for the rest of the downhills, go as fast as you want. But we want to be able to run those last 30 kilometers and not have to death march them in. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. And then also fueling early. A lot of people will be like, oh, I don't really feel like a gel now. I'll just wait a little bit. I always set an alarm on my watch. So for 20 minutes, every 20 minutes there's a setting on the watch where it will just say eat. And then it will beep at me every 20 minutes and I'll take a gel.
Wow.
So that then it takes the maths out of it, because having to work out when your last gel was, when there's people and everything going on around you, can be like really stressful. So set that alarm, start fueling early, and just keep on going as long as you can. Like, it's horrible, like taking that many gels and stuff. It's not the funnest thing in the world. But you know, at the end of Two Oceans, for example, I was so over taking gels, and I was like, Carla, just suck it up. Like, it's going to help you get to that finish line. So don't go too fast on the downhills. Start fueling early. Keep going as long as you can. And then if you feel like you're really struggling and you need like that extra boost, just put your hand out and high five some children along the way, and it will make you feel happy. So
I can't.
yeah. Because they get so excited, and then it makes you excited. So be like, come on, children, give me your energy.
It's like playing bingo.
Yeah,
Last time you
exactly.
said also play bingo.
Yeah.
Look for a rhino. Look for all
And
these
all that. Yeah.
lovely things along the route. Okay, and then with regards to now I lost my train of thought. With regards to the things what, so someone who's going for the first time, what is a must do at Comrades, before or after Comrades?
I think before, if you're not sure of like all the music and stuff that they play, definitely go onto YouTube and listen to Shosholoza, listen to Chariots of Fire. There's no words in that one, but learn the words of the songs, because when you stand on that start line, you want to be able to sing with everyone. Learn the South African national anthem so you can stand on that start line and sing, because it makes you feel part of the race. And it will give you goosebumps, and it will make it seem really special. So that's your homework for the next 12 days. If you don't know the words already, learn the words. Refresh yourself with the words. And then, I think it's just just enjoy it. Like, some people are going to have a good day, some people are going to have a bad day. If you've had a rubbish day, celebrate everyone else's good day and give
Mm,
them a high five and a hug. And it's not the end of the world, it's just a run. But yeah, if your day doesn't go to plan, someone else has. And I always think, yeah, just give them a high five and feed off that energy and
their
take some of
energy.
that for your
Yeah.
next run. And just don't be in a rush to, at the end when there's the buzz and everyone's lying on the grass telling their war stories of the day. Like, go and sit with a random stranger and tell them your story and share it, because you're not going to get to do it for like another year. So
Yeah.
enjoy that. Don't be stressed and be like, oh my God, I have to get home or I'm going to sit in traffic. You're like, just sit in traffic. Like, it's a day.
Ah, okay. I think let's check. There's quite a few questions. Let's just go to the questions. Just scrolling up. All right. Okay, so I think this is Theo. How was your first experience with the comrades and what was your highlight then?
My first experience was, I think it was 2016, and my mum and dad came to watch it with me. And the main thing I can remember is sitting on a plastic chair at the end. I've got a photo of it, saying to my mother, never ever let me do that again. And next weekend is my eighth one. So,
Ah,
yeah, that's how my first one went. And also, actually, on that first one, I was about 10 kilometers, no, 5 kilometers from the finish. And there was a guy on the microphone saying, oh, we've just passed the 7 hour mark. So unfortunately, none of you guys have got a silver medal. So don't worry about it, just enjoy it. Because he thought the silver cutoff was seven
oh,
hours, when in fact it was 7:30. So
7:30.
I was so tired that I just listened to him and I was like, oh, okay, that's a shame. And then I actually got in at like 7 hours and 27 minutes, and someone was like, here's a
Yay!
silver medal. I was like, oh, cool. So just whatever time you're going for and what medal you're going for, just write that time down on your hand, just in case someone says, oh, you've missed the cutoff, it's 8.5 hours. You can be like, no, it's not, you're talking rubbish. So
Ah, so writing the actual time
that
that
you're
you
going
expect to finish.
for. Yeah, because
Oh,
that just completely threw me. And I was like, oh, okay. And it almost made me like just give up. I don't know how I got in within that time, but, and it wasn't their fault. People are caught up in the race and you forget things and you get things
mhm.
muddled up. But I do think that's quite a nice thing to be like, okay, no, that's the actual time I'm going for.
Ah. And then the next one, Kominguta says, after comrades, when does the next cycle of comrades training typically start and how long is the rest?
I would say if you're doing comrades, you should have about a month off. That doesn't mean a month of nothing. Definitely a week of no running, mainly because you're not going to be able to walk. And if you can walk, you haven't tried hard enough. No, I'm joking. Um, but we all need that week afterwards to give yourself that like mental break. Training for comrades is a really, really
Yeah.
long block. So having that week, and then so my plan is to probably have a week of nothing, and then probably have a week of like maybe a few 30-40 minute runs if I want to, and then the rest of the month, the rest of June, well, for a month, so it'll take me to the first week of July, easy, no sessions, no long runs, just very easy runs. And then after that break, you can then start kind of building again, depending on what your next goal is. But don't rush into it. And you might feel like you're okay, but if you don't rest and recover properly in that month after comrades, your risk of injury, your risk of getting ill, your risk of burnout is really high. So, it's weird because it's in the middle of the year, but it is the end of like the season, if you
Mm.
think of it like that. So, footballers have it at the end of their season, they have a month off. Other runners that do the Diamond League, track athletes, at the end of the summer, they have a month off. We need to do the same. So, really important not to rush it. You can go for a walk, you can go for a swim, you can move your body in other ways, but definitely don't do anything fast. Definitely don't go and be a maniac and do a marathon again 2 weeks
Oh,
later, because that is one.
dear.
Because I know what people are like in this country. They love a marathon. So just chill.
Yeah.
I do like to have like another race in the distance for what I'm going to do and what I'm going to aim for. So for me, I'll probably do Gun Run, which is in September. So it's nice to be like, okay, that's in September, but it's a 21. I don't need a massive block of training for that. And it's kind of in the distance sitting there. So I think it is nice to kind of have something on the horizon, but not something that you're going to go and do 2 weeks later.
Okay. Would you say sitting down for a whole month is advisable?
Your body might need it. It
Oh.
depends what you need. So,
Oh,
yeah, like, I mean, I would say a week of nothing and then 3 weeks of nice, easy running. So, easy running, nothing crazy, nothing fast, moving your body. And yeah, when you do start your block again, I'm not saying a month of just doing absolutely nothing. You're moving, but it's all very easy.
okay.
And when you start your new block, you will feel like you are a bit unfit and you won't be able to hit the paces and stuff that you could now. But you're going to jump up quicker and you're going to end up running quicker than you were in the last block if you
Okay.
take that recovery properly. And I know that seems weird, but trust me, like you will. But you need that time off. And for your head,
Yeah.
like you need that mental break. And you should come back from your off season being like, oh my God, I really want to train. Like you should
Mm,
be like when you get that feeling of,
I'm
yes, I
not.
want to go and do intervals again.
Yeah.
I want to train. I want to run fast. That's when you're probably ready to get back into it again.
Okay. This question from Kutadzo, I think this is a shoe question. Yeah, it is a shoe question. So he says, shoe wise, he or she says, shoe wise, would you advise one to use Boston 12 as an average runner or a sub 11-hour runner? I'm assuming Boston 12 is the carbon plated shoes.
I'm not, sorry, there's a mosquito in my house. Boston 12 is an Adidas shoe. I
Yeah,
don't really know anything about Adidas
yeah.
shoes.
You're
What I
a
would
hockey athlete.
say, yeah, what I would say on shoes is if you are running, well, any of us that are running, we're running from 6 hours up to 12 hours. You need to wear a shoe that is comfortable. If you are doing an easy run, like for an hour, and that shoe is not comfortable, think about how that is going to feel after 12 hours.
Mm,
Like comfort is key. So if you're like, oh, they haven't been that great, you start to get a little bit uncomfortable, like comfort. So it's a long time that we're running for. And yeah, the last thing you want is your feet to be like sore and your shoes to be smashing up like we're going to be smashing up our feet
mm.
anyway. So I can't tell you what shoes to run in. You need to have a little look and go through what shoes you've got in your cupboard and pick your most comfortable ones for race day.
Yeah. And I mean, talking about the shoe, the last live we spoke about this as well, but maybe there's other people who didn't join the previous one. So the blisters and the socks, um, how can people try and avoid those on race day?
Yeah, making sure you have like a good running sock, I think is key. Like they do kind of wick the sweat and stuff away from your feet better than like a cotton sock. So if you're going to do anything, get yourself a nice pair of socks for race day. And then I like to use this anti-chafe balm that I put on my feet. It's called Happy Toes. But you could use any anti-chafe stuff. You can just rub on your feet. It creates like a balm. And stops blisters. And then also make sure that you cut your toenails. They're nice and trim, but I probably wouldn't do that the day before. I'd actually probably do that this
Oh,
weekend. Just because sometimes you can cut them a bit short and then
oh
they feel a
yes.
bit sore. So that's probably a job for this weekend. Cut your toenails, um, anti-chafe your feet, nice new socks, and then yeah, you should be good to go. I find you shouldn't be getting blisters in your training day to day. And I've seen some people, and it's doing my head in, where everyone's like, look at my comrade's feet. I've lost 8 toenails and my feet are black. Like, if your feet are looking like that, your shoes are wrong and they haven't been doing a good job. However, on race day, we do tend to get like blisters or bash our toenails because you're running a little bit faster, your feet get wet from like the sweat, you're running longer than you ever have before. We're running downhill for a long time. So don't be stressed if you do feel that like blister on race day, but hopefully you're going in with like nice feet.
Okay. So Owen is asking, when eating your breakfast, do you okay, so I think he's asking, when eating breakfast, do you make your stomach full, or do you just eat how it- yeah, or do you just eat normally?
Just eat normally, like just a normal breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to like make yourself so full that you can't move. Like just normal.
And not just Milan. Will the glitter help me run faster?
Yes,
Asking for a friend.
yes, it will.
Yes.
Correct.
And then Lou's asking, what time do you have your breakfast? So I'm assuming he's asking how soon before the race do you have it?
So it will basically be from when we're leaving our accommodation to go to the race an hour before. I'll wake up and have breakfast like pretty much straight away. So I kind of base it on that.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not too sure what time we're leaving yet.
And then Renee is asking, how many grams of carbs do you try target per hour? I think you answered that earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, so when I'm racing, I try and get about 100 grams of carbs per hour. That is a lot. So if you haven't practiced with that amount, please don't go and just start to do that on race day next weekend. Stick to your plan. It's taken me a long time to get to that amount, but basically, the more carbs you can get in, the better. However, stick to your plans for next weekend. Don't go mental. And then if it is really hot on that, your body, you do need a little bit more water to help absorb the
Okay.
carbohydrate. So just have a little look what the weather's doing. If it's a really hot day, then you might need to take a little bit more water to help that carbohydrate get into your system.
Okay. And then Susan's asking, how do you know how fast or slow to start?
Hopefully you've been practicing it in training. So, you know, it should be what pace you want to get in that, like you need sorry, I'm like thinking out loud. You need to have like your strategy for the race and how fast and slow. It's very different if you're like just racing and responding to the race to if you're going for a time. But like your long runs up to now, you should have done a lot of stuff at race pace. So you should be very dialed into the pace that you're going. So let's say, for example, you've been practicing at 6 minutes a K. Don't go and start the race at 5 minutes a K because you're going to die. So look at what time you want to do the race in, and that's the pace that you want to go off at, mainly because the first little bit is flat. And then on the downhills, you're going to go a little bit quicker, and on the uphills, you're going to go a little bit slower. So that's going to help get your average pace throughout the race.
And how would you maybe suggest, I mean, maybe it might be hard to say, but let's say maybe I've been training 6:30 pace when I do my long runs, and how do I try and balance, like in the down runs I'm going at 6 minutes flat, in the up runs I'm going at 7 minutes. Do I sort of do like an average, like in the middle, or
Yeah, so you're probably, yeah, if you're going, let's use 6 minutes a K on the flat, the downs you're probably doing at 5:30s and the ups you're probably doing at like 6:37, and that's going to like average out throughout the race. So yeah, flats, the pace you want to go at, downhill a little bit quicker, but like I said earlier, not too
okay?
fast, not like 2 minutes quicker. And then the ups naturally are going to be a little bit slower.
Do you ever use heart rate as a guide? on comrades or
I don't. Yeah, I basically go on feel, and I
okay.
just feel if I'm going too quick or too slow.
Okay. And then Franco Duplessis says, this is not a question, but I just want to say what a big inspiration you are. First slice of cake is on me at the end of comrades and in the dancing face.
Wonderful. Can't wait.
And then Franco again, and tell us about the time when you ran from Cape Town to Durban for comrades. Fun.
Okay, so in 2018, me and 5 other guys thought it was a really good idea to try and do a comrades a day for 20 days, and then on the 20th day, do comrades. Needless to say, after about 6 days, we all got injured. And then our plans changed a little bit. So, again, also don't go and copy this. I mean, you've only got 12 days. So, I ended up running. I then just wanted to see how much distance I could get in. So, I ended up doing 900 kilometers and then on the 20th day, did comrades. And actually had a very good comrades. I still to this day, I've got no idea how. But yeah, it was fun because we got to see like a massive part of South Africa really slowly. We ran through it, stayed in completely random places along the way. It was a roller coaster.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, in my head, once I got injured and then couldn't stick to the 90 anymore, I was like, I just want to make sure that I get to that start line because my mum and dad are coming over from the UK to watch me. And if they don't, I think my mum will kill me. So I was like, I need to start this race.
Wow. But for 5 days, you did 90 kilometers every day.
And then in the
Wow.
race week, so the Sunday before the race, I did 60K, Monday 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. That was my taper. So also, please don't do that. It's stupid. But I did end up having a really good race. So
Wow. Thanks for that, Franco. Wow. Okay. And then Olisi says, been following you and you do your strength. Been following you when you do your strength. Any takeaway why you got injured?
so I actually got injured from my shoes. The ones that were using were very, very fast, but I use orthotics and they were a bit unstable for me. So when I was landing on my foot, it was rolling out to the side and I wasn't wearing orthotics in them. So instead of it supporting my foot and pushing me inwards, it was going down. And then where those tendons then join onto the bone, it was like pulling on the bone and it basically made some fluid between the sheath of that goes around the muscle, around the bone and the bone. So it was just a very unlucky thing because of
Oh,
shoes. So also with carbon shoes, please be careful. Please make sure they fit you properly because if you're not strong enough, if you need like orthotics like I do and you don't wear them, I just don't normally wear them in racing shoes. So that's why I haven't worn them in those. And it backfired a little bit,
sure.
unfortunately. But
Interesting.
I've got a new pair for next weekend.
Okay.
So hopefully those
Yay.
ones work.
Yay. And then Zolega says, hi, Kay Carla, do you have a tip on how do you protect your toenails from getting injured or falling off during comrades?
Yeah, cut your toenails, wear good socks, make sure your shoes fit. Some of them will get like on the down run, we're going down so much and your toes are going to slide forward. So I think it is a little bit of a hazard of the job. But if any of my toenails fall off, I still just paint the skin and pretend I've got one on.
Ooh! Ouch! Oh, Carla.
You have to.
Okay. Okay, so Gaza says, hi, champ. If you had to be our coach, can you please give us a brief race overview on how to tackle the down run, perhaps in 30-kilometer increments?
I think we've kind of
Yeah,
gone through that.
we
Like,
did.
yeah, like not going too hard. It's hard in like 30K increments because the race is so different. But like the one thing that I had actually on that year where we ran from Cape Town to Comrades, I was coming down Fields Hill and there was a guy running next to me, and on his number it said A batch and 11 Comrades. And he ran next to me and he was like, slow down, you're going too fast. I was like, okay. He's like, slow down. And I was like, I'm going to listen to this guy. He's done 11 and he's in A batch. He must know what we're talking about. And then I got to the bottom of Fields Hill and he's like, okay, now you can go. I was like, okay, thank you, bye. So just remember that on all of those downhills up to Fields Hill, rein it back in a little bit. And then when you get there, go to the finish line. I do think running is always more efficient. So run if you can, walk if you have to. You know, always try and run up the hills. When you get to a point where you think I can walk at the same pace as I'm running, go to a walk, but we're power walking, you know, you're putting some effort into it. And then always find something at the top of the hill. So you're like, okay, I'm walking, but when I get to that lamppost, I'm starting to run again. Because it's very easy to start walking, get to the top and be like, okay, just a little bit further, because walking's easier. So it's a running race. So pick the point where you're going to start running again. It's fine to walk, but remember, running is more efficient. It's going to get you to that finish line quicker. Pick a point, start, and then if you can as well, like I was actually talking to the guys I run with this morning, running over the hills. So a lot of the time you get to the top of the hill if you run up it, and then everyone slows down and they're like, whew, I've done the hard work. You can make up a lot of time if you keep on running over that hill. Not too fast, but you get your breath back on the downhill. It's downhill. You're going to get your breath back. So try not to slow down as you go down the other side.
I've heard of people who go out really fast the first half and then they decide to take a nap in between and then wake up again and start
Yeah.
again. I don't know.
To
Can you talk
me,
about that?
I want to finish that race as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not stopping. I'm not even stopping to like high five my friends and family. I'm like, I'll see you at the end. Because if I stop,
Meet you at the
yeah,
finish.
exactly. I'm like, like we can drag this day out or we can get it done. So I'm finishing the race.
So Mlu says, how much does one need to eat during the race?
As much carbohydrate as you can. And carbohydrate is like the main thing. Protein doesn't give you fuel. Your body's got enough fat on it to utilize fat as a fuel source. So carbs, carbs, carbs. The amount that you've been doing in training, please don't go and do something crazy on race day and start taking 5 times the amount of carbohydrate as you normally would. But yeah, basically the more you can get in, the better.
Okay.
And you know, if you are like, I do find that I do get hungry. So it might be a case of like, if you are out there for 12 hours and you're like, I'm going to need something to fill me up, because we are going through like lunch and snack time. Things that can be really good are things like a jam sandwich on white bread, because it's going to give you some substance, but at the same time, it's very easy for your body to digest. So just think of things that are easy. The potatoes on the route are great. The salty potatoes, easy for you to eat, and easy for your body to digest. Bananas as well, they'll fill you up a little bit. But yeah, if you are hungry, get some solid food in, but stuff that's quick and easy, and yeah, not going to stress your body too much. Don't go and have a bori roll, as nice as they smell, and it's like that smell when you're running and everyone's cooking bacon and bori, and I'm like, oh my god, you people are killing me, because that's all I want. But that's not going to help you run fast.
And then Morgan says, hello, Carla. I love your madness.
Hello, Morgan.
And then Kolisi says, positive splits, negative or even splits for racing a marathon, or comrades, what really works? Oh, positive splits, negative splits, or even splits?
I mean, ideally, you want to do even splits. Like to negative split is always very, very difficult when racing. I think I've maybe done it like once or twice, negative split. But yeah, as even as you can be. If you can negative split, then that's amazing. So that just means that you're going off a little bit slower and you're picking it up in the second half of the race. Very hard to do, but if you can, great. Positive split, I think once I had like the biggest positive split at Comrades because I thought I was Usain Bolt and went off like really, really fast and had to drag myself to the finish line. So not the ideal way to race. Wouldn't advise. So yeah, chill a little bit if you can.
Okay. I think that was the last question. Any other tips?
I think just have fun, hey? Like it should be a celebration of like all the training that you've done and all the hard work that you've put in over the last few months or few years. It could have been like a really long-term project to get here. So enjoy it. Like it's going to be hard. You're going to question your life choices. You're going to hate bits. You're going to love bits. You're going to cross that finish line and say you're never going to do it again. But trust me, I've done that. And like I said earlier, next weekend's my 8th after saying that. Some of my races have been great. Some of them have been bad. I've kind of had a mix of everything thrown in there, but I've loved all of them. So yeah, just embrace it and have a really fun time out there and be proud of what you've done, because whatever you end up doing next weekend is what your body could do on the day. So you know, you might be fast, you might be slow, you might hobble in, you might fly in, you might surprise yourself, and everyone's going to have one of those experiences throughout the day. All of us are going to be completely different, but we should all be proud that we've got to this point and we're about to race next weekend, because yeah, I think that's quite special. And like 90 kilometers is a very, very, very long way. In most of the world, a marathon is a pinnacle of running, and most people see that as like, oh my god, you've done a marathon. We're going to do 2 and a little bit more. So it is a very, very long way. So you know, sit with that and be proud that you're going to go and attempt to do that next weekend, and hopefully we'll all be crossing that finish line at the end of the day.
Well, I'll be cheering for you guys.
Thanks. Are you coming down?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be
Exciting.
commentating.
Yay. Fun.
Yeah. So I think last few comments, just comments. Tuli says, hello, Carla. All the best, my dear. Just Milan says, all the best, Carla. Nkolisi says, thanks, Z and Carla. What a great session we had. Oh, and Michelle says, wishing you all the best, Carla.
Thank
All
you.
behind
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Team
Yeah.
Purple.
Yeah, I feel like it's cool. Like we're getting all the support now, and everyone's getting excited. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to head to Derbs next Wednesday.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was awesome.
I've also been jotting down for my 2027 Comrades Marathon.
I'm not forgetting that. I've got a program for you when you're ready.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but all the best for next week. And yeah, we'll be watching and cheering.
And I'll see you on the finish line.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone,
Thanks.
for tuning in. And thanks, Carla.
Thanks. See you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Now, how do I end this? Oh, yeah. Never mind. Cheers.